to cut my script, you know what I'm saying? I came out just straight from, chilling at the house, it's Friday, so they fed us lies about our history. Oh, okay, wait, we gonna wait for ending right. In the meantime, between time, spokenwordneworleans.com,
Get it how you live, get it how you live, get it how you live, get it how you live.
The promotion will never die. Man, I'm going to the reggae club after this, man, shoot some pool. Y'all don't know if y'all get down with that reggae music. They got a lot of weed in there, so I'll be there.
Yeah. Tell the truth to shame. Tell the truth to shame. Tell the truth to shame.
So they fed us lies about our history. It said that we were bastards, subhuman, ass backwards, that we lacked the capacity to achieve, forced us to believe that we were not a part of history. It gave us books filled with myth and mystery. His story, not history. They used those lies to justify the genocide they committed. Then they lied twice and say they did it. I mean, they say they didn't do it, but truth conquers lies, so here's some pros to prove it. Before 55,000 years ago, every human on the planet was African, even those in Europe. See, the original man was African, Ethiopian to be exact. He was probably a hunter-gatherer and all that. But wait a minute, let's backtrack. How do we know he was black? Because the climate in that region, real hot, sun beaming, requires skin to produce melanin, which provides protection and pigmentation. Now let's get back. So we started a nation, a civilization, but limited resources means somebody gotta go. So the African began to migrate, setting up civilizations in states like Nubia, then Egypt, then the Africans spread eastward and to the southern tip of Asia. And what I'm gonna say next is about southern tip of Asia. And what I'm gonna say next is about to Amasia. Presently there are 100 million Africans in Asia. Then the African crossed the Strait of Gibraltar into modern day Spain. Adaptation began to take place due to climate change. By the time the African reached Russia, he was met with an ice age. His nose began to elongate, his skin lost shade. In order to survive, his genetics began to mutate and create a pale face since the birth of a new race. Now let's get back to our birthplace. Ethiopia, at that time, was considered the home of God according to Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten. Akhenaten. He was the husband of Nefertiti, the father of Tut. He believed that Ethiopia was the genesis of all and spoke of it as such. Well, what's up with Europe? At that time, not much. They were still pre-literate and stuff, but they was trying to come up. They had spoken word, Homer with the Iliad and the Odyssey. At that time, Egypt was on its 24th dynasty. According to Dr. John Henrik Clarke, at that point, Africans had ruled the world for millennia, from the start. Created mathematics by aligning the stars on the charts. We built the pyramid and the Sphinx with African features distinct, wide nose, big lips, and what's crazy about this? They'd rather believe that aliens did this from outer space than to believe that Africans could create. Now that's just hate. But back then, they did appreciate. They appreciated our science, our philosophy, our ability to build the empire state. In fact, they appreciated so much they began to replicate. There's no denying the influence of Africans on ancient Greece. Just look at the oldest European civilization on Earth. That's Crete. Where that's at? In Greece. We taught them everything from arithmetic to politics, help them get on their feet. We set up universities for them and started to teach. See, we already knew the science. To them, it was all Greek. With the rise of the Abrahamic religions, Africans became the first Jews, Muslims, and Christians. You need proof? All right. See, Abraham was a Mesopotamian turned Canaanite. Genesis 10:28, a direct descendant of Sheba, which is present-day Ethiopia and Eritrea. Through his son Ishmael, we get Islam and Ishmaelites. Through his son Isaac, we get Judaism and Israelites, the bloodline of Christ. By the way, none of these people are white. They are either black or blacker. These are the facts that factor into our being. We came into being long before the European was off all fours, explored American shores. Read they came before Columbus and how the Native Americans spoke of the black people among us. I mean, amongst them. We are the sons of God. I mean, his next of kin. We must explore our history and know what it means to be an African. Research your history. Here's what you should do. Learn about Ghana, Mali, Mansa Musa, Timbuktu, Imhotep, Isis, and Osiris. We wrote the first surgical textbooks known today as the Edward Smith Papyrus, written in the 19th century BC. We are the original originators. Now that's our history.
Man, if you don't take this shit.
Part 2. All right.
Man, that's why we go back. We go back like screen doors. Like rushing home at 4 to hear Lionel yell, thunder, thunder, Thundercats. Ho! Baby, we go back like that first Velcro shoe. Back when library dues was all you had to pay. Running home to fetch them ugly metal skates. Back when tables had love, meaning both parents, hot plates. Catching that street light, man, she was out too late. And your mother, well, she had that whooping ready right on time. We go back like, who are your people? Like, if you don't get from up under that cover this Sunday, get up under that steeple and you had better keep your mouth shut. We go back like the shirts with the gators. Like when we wanted to be lovers and not haters. And like was a commitment, no was a destiny. And maybe just meant you wanted to keep your options open. Like hoping your folks was cool with you staying the night of bikinis, but you couldn't take that chance, so you just called from his house and gave his mama the phone. We go back like conjunction, junction, what's your function? Yeah. Words and phrases and clauses. Back when PE taught us to fight the powers that be, and brothers and sisters had them one thing. Shit, you know what I'm talking about, baby. Causes. Running hands around Virginia trees, having cooties was the worst possible disease, and chicken pox is the flu. Shit, that just meant you have the day off. Me personally, meditation was me on my back with my face facing the sky, and I and my friends, we pondered the ultimate questions of the universe. Why are we here? Could the Super Friends beat up the devil? What Ninja Turtle is that clown shaped like? If I ate while on the toilet, how long would it really take? That is a question. Like snickering with your brother a half hour after bedtime, knowing full well your mother would bust through that door and administer the proper motivation for a good night's rest. And I'd do anything to go back in time and make myself realize that my little brother was my best friend, and he still is. Like when Sunday afternoon Kung Fu Theater gave you a hope that one day that bully was going to catch you at the wrong damn time and get a little bit more than lunch money. Back when your woman, your honey, the love of your life had no idea you existed and would not until the 11th grade at that house party drunk, dating someone better than you, and besides, she's always seen you as just a friend. We go back like bad promises. Like when we swore we'd spit a blood-soaked palms that nothing would tear us apart, but then we go from friends to faces in the hallways, to phone calls on holidays, when we see each other's mothers, when we were so close that our mothers became each other's mothers. And we evolved from friends to boys to cousins, and nothing broke that bond. Not even the sibling crush. We go back like regrets. Like when everything we wanted from the world was everything we ain't seen yet. And only now notice how that list never seems to get shorter. Baby, we go back like mayo sandwiches and sugar water. Ain't nothing tripped you out more than Optimus Prime dying through the Luke, I am your father, and E.T. and them big ass eyes. Multitasking was being getting freeze-tagged. Ice cream headaches were your jet lag, and getting online meant you were either in PE or going to lunch. MySpace was my place in Foursquare or Tetherball. Twitter was something that happened when you sneezed, and Facebook meant that you fell asleep in class again. Right. Yeah. Like when Tasha kept punching you and neither one of you knew why. Keisha only played with the boys and nobody knew why in the game. Really love playing double dutch with them girls. I'm gonna hop in. And we ain't even care. Baby, we was all cool. Unity was an unwritten rule, and even if we fought that day, we were down again before the moon came up. Tank tops were not called wife beaters, and for that matter, most fathers weren't either. Our chat room was the classroom before the back of the bus, and you could at least carry the cardboard of the boombox if you could not break like us, which meant that I often carried the cardboard of the boombox. Either way, you were accepted. Like when we would squeeze each day to the very last drop, stretch out on cars, rocks, and trees we didn't own just to savor our reward. A tired orange sun, leaving behind a calming fire and a diamond-encrusted velvet in its wake, promising the same, if not a better chase tomorrow. We go back like dreams of a future worth looking forward to, and despite the ambition that 11 through 15 instilled, she never got that rocket pack. He never got that flying car. You never kissed Jessica Salter, and some of us, we never got 34. We go back like prom 94, and even though you did good all night on that last dance, Suzette did notice, and you really hoped that smile wasn't out of pity. We go back before the global villages when there was a local hour block in every ghetto, hood, borough, favela, and city. Back when 3rd grade ugly turned into 8th grade pretty and blossomed in the end of the summertime at 16 and fine, and she ain't even hearing you now, because she knew she was always beautiful. We go back like hand-to-hand biometrics, like being addicted to Rubik's Cube, Tetris, and each other. We go back like we're not leaving if you're not coming. We'll all take a stand of shit. We'll all just keep running, and when we done, we'll just find each other. Go back like bonds unbroken. Like all the things unsaid and the love that doesn't need to be spoken and the days we held tighter to once they were gone. We go back because we need to. Because it helps us. Moving on.
Yeah. Oh man, you all right.
Get in there, somebody get in there, somebody get in there, somebody get in there. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, 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 come on.
Get my easy bag up and
my big wheel.
Damn, I ain't got.
Come on now.
Get in there. Get in there. Get in there. Get in there. Get in there.
All this rapping is making me hungry.
like an alcoholic uncle.
Hungry.
Do that thing you did that one time at the party. Do that one thing.
So this shit ain't gonna be funny, but I'm 23 years old, still looking for magic. The older I get, the more I lose the blueprint that guides face, and sometimes I forget who I am and who I was, and I'm always trying. For some reason, the smell of crisp fabrics pressed into stacks, my hands as wrinkled as maps, always seems to bring me tumbling home. It makes me think about my grandmother, and I don't know much about her. Our timelines didn't permit it as such, but I remember her smile. Could spin this world if ever gravity decided to call in sick. I was told she was a tall woman until diabetes made her a little bit shorter than me at age 9. Since the 2nd grade, I've known what reality tastes like. It's the grandson, cupping a kneecap like a baseball. It's the phantom stroke of 2 lost shins. Before she died, she told me, baby, sometimes I can still feel my toes. Told me to watch where the wind blows. Still to this day, I think about what she said, and I can smell her on my shirts whenever I wash them. Just yesterday, I had a discussion with God about the clouds. I asked her how they move, and strangely, she sounded a lot like my grandmother when she said, baby, the soul shift the clouds. I just wish them forward. It's a lot like love. I told God the last time I saw love, it told me to smile like we never met, and all I ever wanted was another hug, you know, just another kiss to the forehead, someone to go back my broken childhood left scattered on a baseball field where love rarely showed up to. And it's days like this, God, that I wonder if your angels ever get carpal tunnel in their wings, trying to stop poets like me from plunging their pen into their wrist to get more in tune with their words. And I know, ever since the Old Testament, you got tired of speaking in tongues, so now you speak in sign language. I asked God, do you ever get arrogant? She smiles at me and says, boy, have you ever seen the sun? Whispers to me saying something like, you know, you're not alone. Somewhere there's a grain of sand with your name on it. When she said that, all I could reply was, I hope you told that grain of sand the same thing about me. God says love is like salt. No one knows the exact amount to use, and even though it dissolves, you can still taste it. And I pray to still taste it after I left love. I think, you know, at the bottom of my cigarette carton, there's still some nights I wish love would just call me back. After she told me that magic don't exist, baby, but I can make you feel like it does. Like I can make the pain disperse like a pigeon flock in the rain, like we puncture holes in the skies, creating the outline of stars. Like I stay until morning without you ever asking. And if you listen closely, I'll teach you how to realign decrepit chakra around the spine of dandelions. Let go of wasted breath and lost time, because the more that you hold on to it, it hurts. And I asked God, how do you get rid of pain? God says, do as the clouds do. Cry and move forward.
Yeah. Shit. All right, shit. Damn. All right.
Hey.
I got something. If I don't get home soon, the head start getting real.
His camera. Ended Rights. We got one more for Ended Rights. One more for Ended Rights.
This is like
jumping at he said, no. We waiting for James.
Next week.
Oh man, we down like that.
Ooh.
Toilet while your angels get down like that.
My name is Peaches and I'm
To feel my breath.
And what got me is that all y'all got in unison. Y'all was like,
Yeah.
That was perfect unison. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
I
was
would have went straight to and bold.
Let's.
There it is.
There it is.
I
And
do the seat. Yes, they run it real rapid.